BlaXit family. BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Woo! Oh, sorry, 1 second. Woo, the whole thing nearly fell over.
Sorry.
It's okay, Kath. How are you today? How are you today? I think this looks a bit high, doesn't it? I think I should adjust it. Make it a bit lower. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah, hang on then. Here you go. How are you today? Please show me if you're here on the live with us on BlaXit. Here, live from Gambia, West Africa. Welcome, BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Hello, BlaXit family. Probably done it a little bit too far over now, but you know, one has to try, one has to try. How are you today? I hope you are well. Yeah, who's that? Mohammed Kamara. Yeah, he says hi. Thank you, Mohammed. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit. Hope you can see me. I hope everything's fine. We have the right trajectory. Yeah? Okay then. So welcome to BlaXit. Welcome to BlaXit. Welcome to BlaXit. Welcome, Mohammed Kamara. What's the surname there? Dansira. So welcome, Mohammed Kamara Dansira. Thank you for joining us on today's live. If you are new to BlaXit and you don't know who I am, thank you for joining. I'm Nyancho Kajabi, aka Juliet, and I am the founder and CEO of BlaXit. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. I've just remembered something. I'm just going to get something. Yeah, no, I could see it. Sorry. Apologies, apologies, apologies. I've got a drink now. Woo! Sorry. Thank you for joining, thank you for joining, thank you for joining. I do apologize, slight delay there. Welcome to BlaXit. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you don't know what BlaXit is all about your exit from the West back to the best. And that is Africa. We are broadcasting live from West Africa. We are broadcasting from the Gambia. Can I say hello to Ebola Folletti? Hello there. Hi, BlaXit. You're listening from Dallas, Texas, in the good old USA. Thank you. Or should I say bad old USA, depending on whose perspective you look at it from. You know, I hope everything's okay over there in Dallas, because I did hear about the floods and the things that have been happening there. So I do hope that you and your family are safe and that you weren't affected by it. I really do hope. So, you know, my well wishes goes out to you over there. And thank you for joining us from Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much, Abiola. Thank you so much. Also, Boateng, hello Boateng sees, good morning. Hi, thank you so much. Where are you joining us from? I'd love to know. So, but thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Also, Nicholas as well. Correct. Let me just do some quick housekeeping before we go into today's live. And I would like to say thank you to our moderator. Our moderator this week is Cafre. Yeah, and so keep it clean, everyone. Cafre is just 14 years old, okay? So he's moderating. So just to do some housekeeping, BlaXit is a channel that is dedicated to our liberation, our mind emancipation, and the return journey to the land of our creation, which is Africa, okay? And so I'm a repatriational specialist. And my goal for the last, well, I don't know, I've been a Pan-Africanist as long as I've known myself. So I'm also been a Garveyite for as long as I've known myself. I was raised in the UK, in England, in East London, yeah, just like Idris Elba. I actually went to the same college as Idris Elba. Many of us did, and we do all know each other from college, Barking College. And there were many people, Clinton Dyer, also Keith Palmer, so many of us, yeah, Kareen, everybody, you know, the crew, and especially for the crew of the coloured girls who considered suicide when the rainbow is enough by Nostak Chanj. I was part of that. I was actually the lady in yellow, and we were the first all-female black cast to win the Sunday Times Student Drama Award. So now that I was on Barking College, I might as well shout out to you, because that was one of our great achievements while we were there at college, and I was part of the cast. So yeah, sorry, I hope I'm not boring you. So anyway, let me say hello to Nicholas, let me say hello to Boteng, and let me say hello, you can hear me loud and clear. Lovely, the microphone is not in, so let me add the microphone so that you don't get any background noise, okay? I did forget to turn my mic on. Yeah, we'll say mic check one. Oh, the light's gone, the battery's gone on my mic again. I don't know why these batteries go so quickly. Bear with me while I change the battery. It ran out the other day. I don't think these are good quality batteries, to be fair, because if they were, I don't think they'll be going so quickly. I've just got to find another battery. Just bear with me while I look for one. But if you can hear me and it's okay without the mic, I will continue. But if you get any sound distortion or anything like that, then let me know, okay? Because I haven't found the batteries quite yet. I found them. Okay. So there's these little tiny ones, you know. So let me try and see if I can get it to work. Good, just as well, you said that about the sound. Thank you so much for the sound check. I really do appreciate that. So anyway, gosh, last week was a hot topic show, which was great. Let's see if it's on. Oh, my mic is not working. I don't know if I put the battery in the wrong way. Maybe I did, actually. Hang on. No, I put it in the right way. Maybe it's these batteries. I don't know. You know what? Maybe we'll try and survive without a mic this week, okay? We've got lights, that's the main thing, isn't it? You can see me. Let's try it again. No, green light says no. Green light says no, it's not coming on. No microphone, no microphone. So, okay, we'll manage about it, don't worry. Anyway, glad that you're here. Glad that you're here. Let me know that you're here. Everybody, let me say hello to you. Smart Oza, hello. Gloria, hello. Hi Gloria, how are you? I hope you had a safe journey home. We didn't get quite to see each other. I didn't know when you came back from that place that you went to. And Pan-Africanism, hello, or Pan-African, thank you so much for joining. So yeah, last week was a bit of a really interesting show. We went over as usual. I'm going to try and stay within the hour this week. I know I find it really difficult to stay within the hour. It's a beautiful, hot, sunny day here, so I wouldn't even mind a bit of beach time today. So I'm going to try and stay within the hour so I can hit the beach. Kartong has beautiful beaches, and if you are interested in repatriating, we do have land in Kartong. Kartong is a beautiful, beautiful town here in Gambia. It's just up from Gunjur, and it has beautiful beaches and beautiful rivers. We have a riverside estate called Serenity Estate, and the prices have been kept artificially low. So if you are interested and you would like to repatriate, do let us know, okay? A lot of the plots have gone, but there are still a couple left. So please, please let us know, okay? The land is absolutely gorgeous. The location is beautiful, and there's a lovely project which is going to be going on there. So I would advise you to try and get in there as soon as possible. And if you are interested, you can send us a text via WhatsApp. We have a text line via WhatsApp, or you don't have to WhatsApp. You can do it direct on +220 240 5273 mod, if you could put that in there. And also our email address, info@blaxithome.com. Okay, info@blaxithome.com. So yeah, I would love to hear from you if you have an interest in any of those repatriation plots. We do have plots in other locations, including Gunjur. So we do have plots in other locations, including Gunjur and Aneto Sion. But our star estate at the moment has to be the Serenity Estate in Khartoum. Khartoum is beautiful, so I might be hitting the beach in Khartoum. Maybe I'll make a video to show you the beautiful beaches in Khartoum, so and entice you into coming home to Africa, okay? Coming you into having a wonderful time. So as you know, we've got a number of topics, but of course I also share with you, topical news that has been going on. In Africa. We were talking last week about the 7 principles of Ma'at. We were talking about the fact that, we feel that our community, our society is a little bit off kilter, out of order. That things are going on in our communities, and it's almost like we are, going out of control, despite all of the control mechanisms that there are. That, there are alarming rates of murders in our community, alarming rates of sort of harm in our community, which is, alarming rates of mental health issues and medical problems in our community. There's a lot of things happening in our community, which is now peaking, and we're saying, like, what is going on? And the reason why is because I say that we are outside of the laws of Ma'at. Okay, and so Ma'at laws, like I had explained before, I've talked a little bit, and I don't want to go too much into it, but these principles, have been revered for eons, and it was there before any common era, before any Christianity or any other, let's say, organized, if you know what I mean, religion. And so this is a way of life that we had, which was represented by the goddess Ma'at, whose father was Ra or Atum, and whose husband was Thoth. Okay, and that was around 2181 to 2686. Okay, this is before BCE, before all of that. Okay, so we had a set of principles, and Ma'at was born through Eka, and I went through all of that. We went through the 7 different principles last week, which was interesting because we worked through all of them, and I loved your ideas, I loved what you had to say, and also your contributions on why. That was really, really important. And I think that this week, we will definitely touch on those, and I think that's important. I've written some notes, so I will be looking back and forth at those to touch on them. So the 7 principles and and this week we'll look at the 42 laws, but I have got some news that I want to touch on, a bit of news. So it was, the first principle was truth, which was Dijed. Second was balance, which was Wijet. Third was order, which was Apep. Fourth was harmony, which is Heka. And fifth was law, which is Sekem. And also six was morality, was Ma. And 7 was justice, which is Neb. And we kind of talked about them, and also talked about Isfet as well, and why we're out of order is because we're following Isfet, which is represented by chaos, violence, and evil, as opposed to Ma'at. Okay, so Matt X says hi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pan-Africans. Thank you so much. And Abdullah, Flelly, please put your comments there because I will read them. Yes, it would be nice if you could show us the property that you are talking about. Thank you. I actually did make a program. If you go back, I did make a program, and Kafra, if you wouldn't mind copying the link to the program about Kartong in the comment section, that would be lovely. I actually showed plot by plot, yeah, except for those plots that were sold. I actually showed plot by plot. So I actually did that. So that program was made, and then I did actually show some of the beaches. Well, I didn't actually show the beaches, but a colleague of mine who lives in Kartong showed some of his favourite places. He made a video on his phone, you know, it's a bit amateur, but I would rather share that because it's from his heart. So I actually did that. But like I was saying, I'm going to go through the 42 laws, and you're going to be quite surprised at how many do we break on a daily basis. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, anyway. But anyway, listen, let's catch up on a bit of news, a bit of good news, because you know, they say bad news is always the news that gets everybody's attention. But you know, there's so much good stuff going on in Africa I have to share. And so this week I'm showing you a bit of news about Burkina Faso. I don't know who here is supporting the president of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahima Traoré, and also of course Niger and Mali and Namibia and all the other countries in Senegal and so on, which are also, you know, coming out of the colonial rule and taking control of their resources. So tell me if you are a supporter in the comments of Captain Ibrahima Traoré of Burkina Faso. I'd like to give you some news. Before we talked about the new stadium and the footballers and, you know, the investment in sport in Africa and having our own sporting events outside of the Africa Cup, which is, you know, sometimes not represented and sponsored by our own companies. So those are the companies that are actually making the money. So he's put the, okay, so thank you so much, Caffrey. He's put it there. So if you go to the link, you will watch that program, okay? And then you can come back to me, okay? Okay, so can you also put the telephone number +220 240 5273 in the comment section, please, Caffrey, and also the email address, which is info@blaxithome.com. It usually comes under the info section or description of the program, or you can even get it just by clicking on our channel. There's usually links there, and also a link to PayPal if you'd like to make a donation, okay? Oh, he said, oops, it's the wrong video. It's the one where we show the plots, Kath. Yeah? Okay. And he's done the number and the thing. So yeah, so Burkina Faso. Show me some love for Burkina Faso. Please give me some hearts or some thumbs up for Burkina Faso. Please, I beg, yeah? If you don't mind. All right, he's put the correct link, so delete the other one, please, Kath. So, yeah. If you love what's going on in Burkina Faso, give me some hearts. Please show us some hearts. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, please, let's support him, okay? So basically, here's the news, let me tell ya. Okay, so there was uproar in Burkina Faso this week. Yeah, why? You're gonna ask me why. Okay, so Burkina Faso has basically been nationalizing their resources, okay? And of course, you know, which is a great move as far as I'm concerned for Burkina Faso. They're moving in the right direction. So they requested to acquire another 35%, yeah, of their, you know, West African resources, yeah? And it was 35% of a company called Kaika Gold Mine, okay? Now, why am I smiling? I'm gonna tell you in a sec, right? So Kaika Gold Mine is a move that forced a miner, yeah, into a trading halt on Thursday, right? Have you ever heard of that? You understand, this is how in control he is, yeah? And the thing is, he's transferring these resources. Let me tell you who he's transferring these resources to. The abbreviation is, let me see if I can get it right. I know I had to write it down, but it was S. I know what the company is, it's called S, yeah? It's called Society de Participation Minière de Burkina, yeah? Society de Participation So if there's a company that you want to invest in with regard to gold, this is the one. Do you remember I did say to you I would get the information? So this is the information. So it is Société de Participation Minière, yeah, de Burkina. I hope my accent is good. Yeah, so Société de Participation, I'll say it again, yeah, Minière du Burkina. Okay, so this is, right, a state-owned mining company. So if you're going to go and get gold for Burkina Faso, this is the way you should get it from. This is a state-owned mining company. If you're going to invest, this is where you should be investing, okay? In the state-owned. Ronald, how are you? Ronald Robinson, nice to see you, yeah? Thank you so much. Thank you, yeah? Hello to you, yeah? So it is a state-owned, and the abbreviation for it is, let's have a look, I think it's SOPAMIB, okay? So it's SOPAMIB, okay? So, because de means in, and so I'm talking in the French version, but it would be Society of, because de means of, participation, minerals, yeah? Acquired minerals, sorry, in Burkina Faso. Okay, in Burkina, sorry, not Burkina Faso. So, anyway, so let me tell you why it's such good news. Is because this company Kayaka. Let me just call it Kayaka because that's how I can pronounce it. My French is not I'm not so French. You understand? Blah blah blah. So I'll just say Kayaka, okay. So gold mine, yeah. Basically, they he halted their service because he's coming in. So what's there for us? You know, you're working in our country, taking our resources. What's in it for us? And so since June, oh gosh, should I say the whole word? SOPAIMB, IB, right, has acquired five, I mean, I'm so proud of him. He's acquired 5 gold mines, yeah, and exploration permits, right, that were previously held by a company called Endeavour. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, don't you just love it? Don't you just love it? Willie Rivers, don't you just love it? Yeah? Shamuna, don't you just love it? Abdullah, don't you just love it? Yeah? Okay, don't you just love it? I don't know how to put it on the screen, my lovies, yeah? I'll try to later because I got to focus on what I'm doing and I don't want to get distracted. But it's in the comments, you can actually just press on it. Or what I can do, I'll repost it on the community page for you, okay? I'll repost it on the community page for you. Is that okay? Yeah? No, I can't do that. I sort of like, I get distracted really easily. So, anyway, so he's acquired 5 exploration permits, yeah, which were previously held by Endeavour, right, which was a mining company, and another company called Lilium, which were transferred to SOPAMIB, let's just say that, yeah, and the push started in 2024 when Burkina Faso's government nationalized the, listen, I'm not good with my French, so you're gonna have to excuse my accent, okay? The bonjour, bonjour, and the wagonu, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly at all, okay? The wagrion, yeah, mines, yeah, for 80 million, okay, which was a fraction of the price that they were selling it for. They were selling it for 300 million, and bravo to Captain Ibrahima Toure. He got it for just 80 million, okay? So he is now, you know, he's now reclaiming ownership of the African resources. All I can say is thank you so much to him. He's really trailblazing and setting the example that other nations, South Africa, can follow, okay? And many other countries, Congo, can follow, okay, in taking control of their resources. Very, very important, okay? And there are other operators as well. There is the I Am Gold company, which is a Canadian company. It's called I Am Gold Company. And they are still running a mine called Escaine Mine. And the Burkina people only have a 10% stake in that. So they need to move on this quickly, okay, and also continue. So congratulations to Burkina Faso. They are standing on business, and Thursday they were able to halt the business of the Cacao Mine. So well done, well done, well done. It's about time that Africans started to control African resources for African people's benefit. It's about time. Well done. Yeah, Africa for Africans, okay? Well done. So Nang 2000 says, you're coming to Gambia in December from the UK. How do I meet your business circle? With great difficulty. I'm joking. Sorry, I'm joking. I shouldn't say jokes like that. It's easy, just get in contact with me and I'll let you know, okay? We just vet people first, that's all. Okay, so yeah, it's very, very easy. Just text line us and we make arrangements. Okay, so yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that? Can you please give me some emojis and stuff and let me know what do you think about that? So Spacho12 D Brown says, hi Julia, how are you doing? It's Juliet, dear. But you can call me Nyancho. Nyancho means warrior. Okay, Mandinka. That's my Gambian name, my love. You know, I love it. I love it. Because I am a bit of a warrior. I must confess it was the right name for me. Yeah, I've been upsetting things since I was very young. And so I just also want to talk a little bit about, you know, some more news before we go into topic, which was about the 9th conference of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development. Why is everybody so interested in African development, you might ask? Is it African development or is it African resources really that they're interested in? And I'm going to say, you know, these are my opinions, okay? So these aren't, you know, you don't have to agree with them, but I'm just saying to you, this is, you know, my take on things. There's so many conferences, so much development, and then I don't really see the outcomes, you know, in many of the countries that lack development, to be fair, you know, and especially in areas that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But let's just tell you what it's called. It's called TICAD9. Okay, the reason why it's called TICAD9 is because it is the 9th conference. This has been happening since 1993, and this is why I'm going to come back to you about this and why I have my own take on it. Anyway, it was co-hosted by the Japanese government. Yeah. How do you say? I've forgotten how to say it. I used to know some Japanese, you know, before. But anyway, United Nations. So the Japanese government hosted this conference that most of the African nations were at, and also United Nations were there, and of course UNDP, if you don't know what that stands for. Coming through, I'm so sorry about that. United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and the World Bank. You know, less said about that, the better, I think. The World Bank, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the World Bank because many African nations are hugely indebted to the World Bank. And, you know, I might actually do a program about how African nations got into debt by the IMF and the World Bank, and maybe that's a program that I can talk to you about. I'd like to say hello to JB. Good morning, JB. How are you? Thank you for joining us. And Tony Brooks, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking lonely. Did you mean to say lovely? I'm not lonely, my love. Oh, cool. Do you know what? Why does everybody call me when I'm on the live? Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry for the interruptions. I probably should have put it on Don't Disturb. Okay, so apologies. So we were talking about this conference in Tokyo. Once again, another development conference for African nations, all about African development, okay? And the conference, like I said, was hosted by the Japanese government, the United Nations, the UNDP, which is United Nations Development Programme, and the World Bank, and of course the African Union. The African Union, everybody knows who and what the African Union is. And I also want to talk quickly about the UN, just off subject, to say that the UN now wants to move into Kenya. What are your thoughts? Do you think that sorry about that small talk. She's got a bit excited because there's someone at the gate. So I'm so sorry about the disturbance. Okay, so do you think that the do you think that the African, she gets very excited, she does. So do you think that the African Union, do you think that the UN, you know, they're planning to do this in 2026. Do you think that the UN should be having headquarters in Africa, in Kenya? Tell me what your thoughts are, okay, in the comment section. Do you think the United Nations, which is the UN, you know, and you already, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of the UN because of what happened in West Papua and what they've done to West Papua, and also their lack of intervention, their lack of involvement in real issues where things need to be tackled properly. They seem to be on the wrong side. And so, especially in the West Papua issue, which I might do a program on actually, because I haven't spoken about that for a little while. But anyway, so African Union. So the conference was aimed to foster innovative solutions for African sustainable development. How many times have we heard sustainable development coined? You know, several times. Sustainable development through co-creation, focusing in areas such as strengthening industries and cooperation and human resources, development of the private sector led growth. Now, I love these coin frames, and I'm gathering these honourable ministers love travelling around the world to these very auspicious conferences, you know. And I'm playing on the negative a little bit, and I'm going to tell you as for why. But I am going to harp on about something very positive that came out from this conference, which is why I've, you know, mentioned it in the first place, is because there's a positive outcome. If there wasn't a positive outcome, I wouldn't have mentioned it. And so there's also, you know, they also talked about strengthening ecosystems, okay? Human resources, especially for youth and women, supporting peacekeeping initiatives. So this was like, you know, the grand thrust of this, you know, 9th Tokyo conference, you know, for developing African nations, yeah? And of course, you know, there's been numerous cooperative documents were unveiled, more documents, okay, more and more documents. Are we not filled with documents? But anyway, you know, this happens every 3 years, and it's been happening since 1993. But yeah, there's still no long-term solution with regard to Africa's issue with plastic. You know, I haven't seen a huge Japanese plant here for pyrolysis, you know, or a huge, you know, Japanese program here for recycling, upcycling. I'm having a little bit of work done in the house, so if you hear some noise, I do apologize about that, okay? Today's a bit of a noisy one, I do apologize. But rather than cancel, I really wanted to come on. But, you know, upcycling, ecosystems, recycling, you know, so many other types of systems. Where are they? Where are the Japanese solutions for this in Africa? You know, they're willing to give us their other resources and you know, products that have short lives, but you know, where are the long-term solutions? And if you've been doing this since 1993, I haven't seen a pyrolysis plant in Gambia yet. I mean, I can only talk about Gambia. I can't talk about other countries. But I haven't seen a Japanese pyrolysis plant here. I don't know if anybody else has. If you have, tell me in the comment section. If Juliet, you are incorrect, okay? But from this conference came something great. Something great has come from this conference, and this is what I want to share with you. And it actually came from the sidebar of the conference, not actually within the conference, essentially. And this was reported by the Gambian newspaper called The Point. And The Point published a story this week. And it stated that in a bid to boost trade and tourism and culture exchanges, the Gambia and South Africa are moving closer to visa-free travel. Finally! I'll say that again. South Africa and Gambia are coming closer to visa-free travel, okay? They're making one step closer, and I will give you an update about citizenship as well. I'm hoping to give you an update by next week if I get the news that I'm waiting for, okay? I'm waiting on some good news, but I'm waiting on a telephone call first and a visit with the powers that be. So I'm hoping that will happen soon. So as soon as that happens, I'll give you an update. I don't want to put my mouth before anything happens, okay? So the foreign minister of Gambia is called Sirong Modu Njai. He met with the South African counterpart, Honourable Ronald Lamola, and they met on the sidelines of the Tokyo conference, the TICAD9, okay? And at that meeting, oh dear, I don't think the drilling's gonna help, okay? TAD9, at their meeting, they hailed the ending, they hailed the ending of bonds between their nations. They hailed the enduring bonds, yeah, between their nations, and welcomed partnership, okay, in many areas and aspects. And a decision was made to advance the mutual visa exemption agreement. Now, why can't this mutual visa exemption agreement be made across the countries of Africa? Don't you think it's a great idea? Yeah? Exactly. Who's that? Abdullah said, the Japanese only come to take. Don't let them in, or the Chinese. No. Okay, there's always an ulterior motive, and it's always within their own interests. Okay, that has always been the way, because if that is the case, why aren't these beneficial programs, like I said, pyrolysis and different ecosystems, why haven't they been done as yet? Why haven't they been done? Why aren't they here? Because they're talking about ecosystems. Isn't that the first ecosystem that we should look at? Is, why are these plastics that are not biodegradable? Okay, and Africa is having a problem with that plastic waste. Africa is having a problem with it. So why haven't they, with all of their technology, all of their advanced pyrolysis programs and plants, put one here? That's just the basic, let alone all the other stuff. So are they here to take, or are they here to benefit Africa? The question remains. But this is a great initiative. This mutual visa exemption agreement between the Gambia and South Africa will ease travel and trade, and also it will increase investment. So I'm saying, why can't this mutual visa exemption agreement be done across Africa? Because then it will make it so much easier for us to travel through the different African countries. What say you? Hello, Lee, how are you? Nice to join. Thank you for joining. Rena, Africa, thank you so much, okay? Because of the dollar. Exactly. So, anyway, that was just a bit of news that I wanted to share. Also, tell me what you think about the UN putting a head office in Kenya. I don't know what's happening in Kenya these days. Kenya seems to be very mutually pliable with a lot of things. So I have got two versions of the Ma'at principles, coming back onto topic what we were talking about, which was the Ma'at principles. I want to go through them in the next half an hour, so I'm not going to be able to go through both because there's 42. So what would you like? You tell me, the modern one, or the modern version, or the old version? Okay, well, you tell me in the comment section. I'm waiting for you. So if you could tell me now, and also if you give me some more thumbs up, I would so appreciate it. So we're now going to go into the 42 principles of Ma'at, or the 42 laws of Ma'at. And these ones are taken from chapter 125 of the Papyrus of Ani, which is Anubis. And also the petition at Anubis was at the Duat, I should say. Yeah, which was the declaration that you made in terms of like when they were weighing your heart with a feather. So anyway, so I want to talk about these 42 divine principles. They should get the Indians and the Lebanese people out of there too, the Gambia and anywhere else in Africa. You know, if you look at China and those countries, when they were trying to sort out their countries, you know, they did it on their own without outside interference. And I think that's so important. And Marcus Garvey said, just give us 50 years unmolested. Marcus Garvey, the great honourable Marcus Garvey, said, just give us 50 years unmolested, you know. And the new version, okay. So the new version is number 1, I have honour and virtue. Yeah, I have honour and virtue. Yeah, and what does that mean? How many of us even know what it is to have honour and be virtuous? Yeah, but it's important. It means that, you know, someone can look at you and know that you're going to stand by your word. You're going to do what you said you're going to do. You're going to do it to the best of your ability. You're going to do it honestly. You're going to do it in time. You're going to try and do it. And if problems arise, you will say problems arise. If you can't do it, you'll say, you know, I can't do it. This is not going to happen for me. If you're going to say, look, I got sabotaged, that's what it happens, you know. But that is what it is. And it's very hard sometimes to, you know, be honorous and virtuous, but this is the rules that we were supposed to live by. You know, if we were honorable and virtuous these days, there wouldn't be all of this fraud going on, all of this corruption going on, because we would be honorable and virtuous. We wouldn't be looking to rob each other. We would be sharing assets equally. We would be, you know, living in a society where someone wouldn't be rich and the next person would be poor, because, you know, part of honor and virtue is understanding about kindness, okay? Right? Okay, Mukesh. Yeah, how are you? Yeah, thank you so much. So, you know, yeah, Ma'at is a wonderful goddess, and you know, these are the deities. These are the things that they try to take away from us. And so we wasn't raising our children on you know, those. We were raising them on the 10 Testaments as opposed to, and other things, as opposed to like these. I'm not saying that they can't merge. I'm saying that they can all merge. Doesn't matter what religion you are, it can all merge. These are just principles for being a better person. I better speed up, because if not, I will not get through all 42 to you yet. So, okay, Nyancho, speed up. Right, I benefit with gratitude. Do you benefit other people with gratitude? You know, how many times do we actually go and, you know, give a nice gesture to help somebody else without there being an ulterior motive? How many times do we show people that we're grateful? So you can do something. I remember, you know, I helped someone once, and I helped them a lot. You know, they found themselves in a situation where, you know, they couldn't find anyone else to help them, and so I helped them, and I said, okay, no problem, I will help you, right? And I helped them when they were stuck. You know, that same person turned around and ghosted me, ignored me, stonewalled me, disrespected me, treated me in a way I could never believe. Never believe that a person that I went out of my way to help and support when I didn't even need to, you know, I did it. And that is what the person did to me. And, you know, and when people do that to you, it makes you want to give less. But you should let people like that change your nature. If you're a kind person and you give and you help people, don't let people like that change your nature. Just know that you don't help them again in the future because they're ungrateful. They never appreciated what you did. You know, they become rude, they become disrespectful. You know, they don't want to show you any gratitude at all. In fact, they show you nothing but resentment, and that is not good. Do you know what I mean? That is not good either. Okay. So so that was number 2. Yeah, I benefit with gratitude. So if you're benefiting from someone, show appreciation, say thank you. Okay. So Mikesh, you're making me go hot. Mikesh is making me go hot. I hope the noise isn't too much. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm just having some work done. Okay, I do apologize about the background noise this week. It won't be there next week. It will be finished this week, all being well. Okay, okay. Oh, thank you so much, Mikesh. Okay, thank you. Okay, so that was number 3. Is I am peaceful. How many of us? I mean, I can say that living in Africa, I'm definitely more peaceful. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Living in Africa has made me definitely more peaceful. Oh my goodness gracious me. Living in England, I was not peaceful at all. I was stressed out. I was so stressed. I really was. So yeah, I am peaceful. I think definitely coming to live in Africa was a great idea, great choice, great decision. And I wish I'd done it earlier because I definitely found peace. I don't think I found serenity. I don't think I found tranquility. And I don't think I had inner peace. Even though I used to go to yoga, I used to go to all these relaxation classes, meditation, I tried everything, but I still didn't find that inner peace. I found that inner peace when I came to live among my own people because I realized that I was out of kilter. I felt, you know, like I was being suffocated, like in a bottle with a lid on, you know. And also, I felt like I felt like I was ill at ease. That's where I think disease comes from. I think disease also originates from this mental pressure that we have that makes us feel ill at ease. Okay, so Sol, is that Soliman Konote, thank you. You're from the Ivory Coast. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from the Ivory Coast. Thank you so much. So yeah, I don't think I was peaceful at all when I was living in England. I certainly didn't feel peaceful in America at all. I've been to 31 countries and I have felt at peace in other African countries, but I felt most at ease and at peace living in Gambia, I must confess. It's a very, very, very peaceful place to live. 4. Yeah, I respect the property of others. Really? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Do you know, just looking at the riots in the UK recently, where they went around to areas where they knew there were high populations of non-white people living and they destroyed their property. Yeah, they destroyed their property. Why? For no other reason except for the fact that they were not white. Okay? So I respect the property of others. It's not that. You know, I remember I had a guest who came to my house, who I helped, who happened to be in a point of distress, who happened to turn out to be like a she-devil, a demon. I swear. You know, I watched a film. I know I digress just slightly, but I watched a film. You know, one of those Lifetime films that you can watch on YouTube. So it was raining really heavily and I couldn't focus on work. So I said, let me watch a film and distract myself. And I was watching one of those Lifetime films. And in the film, there was this woman, I thought I had it bad. And she allowed one of her friends, who happened to be her best friend, to come and stay at her house because she was going through a terrible, messy divorce with her husband because her husband had cheated on her. So they were getting divorced and he wanted her out of the house. What a low life. But anyway, that's another side of the story. Anyway, so she went to go and live with this friend. Anyway, this friend falls ill. While this friend falls ill and she goes into hospital, I can't remember the name of the film. If I remember, I will try and post it, yeah? So it might be called My Best Friend, actually, if I remember rightly. So I thought, I didn't realize that it was going to be about that. But anyway, so she ends up staying at the house, in the guest house. And then she ends up starting to flirt and entice the woman's husband. So can you imagine? That's her best friend. And then she starts to hit on her husband. I mean, I know exactly what that feels like, because, I went through a similar experience myself. And so in the end, yeah, she ends up going into hospital because she has kidney stones. So she goes into hospital, she has kidney stones. I'm going to come back on course with this, right? So she goes into, Juliet, sometimes I digress, but it's all got meaning, okay? So she goes into hospital, kidney stones. While she's got hospital kidney stones, she gives the husband this drink. I don't know if she drugged him or whatever, an alcoholic said he was drunk, whatever. And then she gets into their marital bed. Now, this couple, everybody envies this couple because they're so in love, they're so together. And one of the things that she couldn't do was have a child, but that was on the low. Nobody kind of knew. Anyway, so while she was in hospital, because one of the kidney stones was larger than the other, she ends up staying in hospital for much longer than she's supposed to. Anyway, she seduces the husband, and then she starts to bribe the husband. And so, while the husband's in the shower, right, and naked, right. And oh my God, the actor was very good looking, by the way. Very good looking, with a delicious, figure and everything, and body, And so he's in the shower, great shot. And then she goes in the shower, and then she says, if you tell her, yeah, I'm going to scream and I'm going to say that you're attacking me, even though he was in the shower first. And then she drops her underwear in the shower basket, in the dirty basket, the laundry basket, okay? So of course the wife finds the underwear in the laundry basket. He obviously does it. I don't know why he didn't go boo-boo, because really, if that was his wife, he shouldn't be going, I understand. But anyway, that's another story. It's still in the story. So anyway, she basically forces the husband, because she keeps threatening him. So he goes and he tells the wife, look, your best friend was doing this. Anyway, the best friend goes psycho, totally psycho, and wants a woman's husband. And then she tries to kill them both, right? She goes completely mad. That's the reason why I say respect the property of others. Yeah, she went into their property and destroyed their property and tried to kill them, and was still watching them. She was still watching them. At the end of the film, they had a cut where she was still having them under surveillance. Yeah, that's why you have to be careful who you let into your property, because they don't respect your property. They don't respect the property of others. They don't respect your husband. You understand? So be careful. That's why I'm telling you that story. And I had the same thing. I had a psycho living with me. The psycho came back to my house until I had to go and literally, get a court order for trespass. It got that far. It got that bad. Kept coming to my house for nothing. You understand? So, be careful who you let into your property. Sometimes you're trying to do a good turn, but they'll turn around and they will disrespect you in your property. So just a warning, yeah? That film really resonated with me, because I went through the same thing. And then the person had the audacity to go onto social media and tell people lies about me. So, because it was out of jealousy, and had the audacity to also smear my name and use my brand, and steal my brand, a thief. So that, what can I say? So just be careful. You understand? When you, especially married ladies, don't let any woman come and live in your house. I don't care if it's even your sister. Okay? Just don't do it. Okay? So anyway, the fifth one is, I affirm that if I carry on like this with a film for each one, we won't get through them, will we, in time? So I better speed up. Number 5, I affirm that all life is sacred. How important is that? That's very important in a day where life seems to be very, very futile. Life doesn't seem to be regarded as sacred at all. You hear about these shootings. I remember the lady in England who went out with her friend. She didn't even want to go out with her friend. That's another story. I'm sorry, but okay. Last one, yeah. So anyway, so she didn't even want to go out with her friend. So her friend says, look, I'm going to a funeral. Can you come with me? She was supposed to be at home. So she gets her partner to look after the children, yada, yada, yada. So she ends up going with her friend to this funeral. So she goes to the funeral. Anyway, when they get to the funeral, there's no alcohol at the funeral. So, sorry, Michelle, I'll give you credit for this one because Michelle told me about this. So anyway, So she goes to the funeral. So the friend wants to drink, yeah? So she goes, I've got a bottle of, you know, like say for example, brandy. I don't know what the drink was, to be fair, right? But I've got a bottle of brandy and it's inside the car. Will you come in to get it? So the friend says, no, she doesn't really want to go. You know, she doesn't really want to go. But anyway, the friend persuaded her and enticed her, you know, please, you know, come and go and get this drink with me. So in the end, the friend says yes. As they go outside, what do you think happened? What do you think happened? Drive-by shooting. This happened in England, okay, in London. So there's a drive-by shooting. I think it was Dulwich. I can't remember. In South London somewhere, I think. So then, as she comes out, there's a drive-by shooting, and the friend's gone, but the friend doesn't get shot. But the friend who didn't want to go outside, that didn't want to go to the funeral, actually got shot, yeah, and was killed. Okay, and that was in England. So if you don't think drive-by shootings happen in England, of course they do. Okay, so this is why I say that the affirmation that all life is sacred. They wouldn't be shooting up for nobody if they thought all life was sacred. And that's what I'm saying. We've come away from ourselves. You know, even when I was living in East London, you know, my friend's son got stabbed like 22 times. And then the friend that he was with got stabbed 21 times. Like, what kind of evilness? Like a group of like 17 youths. Like, what are we breathing? You know, what are we doing with our youths? How are we controlling them? You know? How are we controlling them? You understand? How? Because, you know, are we teaching them that life is sacred? Are we? Are we? Are they raising their children, looking after their children, being responsible for their children, taking care of their children? You know? Okay, 6 is I give offerings that are genuine. That is helping others. Yeah, I help others. I give offerings. Like I might give money to someone, or I might go and give, you know, an item to somebody to help them and their family, right? That are genuine, that are from my heart. You know, how many times do we do acts of kindness? You know, without it coming back to us? How many times do we do it, or do we do it with an interest in mind? Yeah. So 7, sorry, that was 6. So 7, I live in truth. How many of us can say I live in truth? How many of us can say I live in truth? How many men out there, right, are out there having sneaky links, yeah, and women too, I'm not just blaming men, having sneaky links, yeah, having friends with benefits, yeah, saying that they don't want to commit, saying that they, you know, but they entice people under the impression that they do want to, and then when they get involved with a person, they act like they don't want to. How many people, you know, are doing this? How many people are breadcrumbing people? You understand? How many people are future faking? How many people are doing this? How many people are not living in truth? How many people are pretending to be something that they're not? How many people are really living the life that they should be living? How many people are out there deceiving and lying to people every single day? How many people are pathological, habitual liars? Yeah, pathological liars out there. I met someone who I thought was really genuine and nice and honest, and he turned out to be like a pathological liar, habitual liar, like just non-stop lies just flowed out his mouth like water. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. So be careful who you know, decide to marry, ladies, okay? Make sure that that person is a true and honest person. So make sure that you can live in... Sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. I hope the noise isn't too loud, okay? So I live in truth, yeah? Did she say delicious? Yeah, hit that like button, please. Thank you, Abiola. Hit that like button, please, yeah? Okay, so... Has it stopped buffering? Has it stopped buffering? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Hello? I don't know if it's back. Can you tell me if we're back, please? Mod, are we back? So I regard all altars with respect. So all houses, I think we're back. Yes. Okay, right, great. Sorry about that. I tried to check. I didn't know what was wrong with it. I thought it might have been data problems or whatever, but I can't see. So we're back. Anyway, so we used to have those, right, in order to venerate our ancestors. Because we used to have respect for our ancestors. We used to remember our ancestors. We remembered our grandmas, our great-grandmothers, and so on and so forth. We were grateful for everything that they did to us, you know. which of course, sorry about the noise, which is why, of course, why we're here. Because, they gave their lives and sacrificed and did hard work in order to make us be here. I love my grandma. So, of course, nothing would give me greater pleasure than to honor her. Do you understand? Okay. Thank you for telling me we're back. So, 9, I speak with sincerity. How many people speak with sincerity? How many people, they smile in your face while they're bad-minding you behind your back? How many people do you know they like this? Yeah, hi. And then, but really, they're giving you the side eye. Yeah? They're not liking you at all. How many people? I'm sorry about having work done today. Maybe I ought to give up and come back next week. What do you think? Because we're having a lot of noise interference. So we've got to, I speak with sincerity. How many people can say that they know people who actually speak with sincerity and mean it? It's very, very rare nowadays for people to say things and mean it and to be sincere. And, oh, I really like that for you, and mean it. And so, Juliet, you're doing well. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy with what you're doing with BlaXit. Wow, you got 9.9 million posts on TikTok. Well done. BlaXit is really getting out there. Well done for building it. You brought thousands of people back to Africa. Well done. How many people speak with sincerity like that and actually mean it? No, a lot of us, when we, see other people success, we badmind them. You see a person with a brand new Porsche, oh, not Porsche, I don't really like those, but let's say G-Star, yeah, the Ghanaian car, and because I like those. Or, how happy are we for them? You see them with a swimming pool, new husband, new wife, happy, just married, everything going for them. Are we happy for their success, or are we happiness haters? Are we sincere in how we feel about them? These are things that we need to teach our children, and to teach them also about people that are insincere at the same time, so that they can, grow with discernment and understand and learn the difference. I consume only my fair share. How many of us are greedy? How many of us are greedy? Yeah? I consume only my fair share? Really? How many of us want what someone else has got and what someone else has got and what someone else has got? And we're not content with what we have? Yeah? How many of us? Okay, yeah? I offer words of good intent. That's almost like sincerity again. Do you talk with good intent? Like, I want only the best for you. I will do only the best for you. I'm going to give only the best for you. I'm going to do my best. In relationships especially, do you talk good intent until you just get her into the bed and then it changes? You understand? Your attitude changes. You become cold, disrespectful, or whatever. Is that what happens? Do you know what I mean? Are you only talk with good intent when you want, when you want to lay her down, or when you want to get something from somebody, or you're trying to finesse somebody? Or do you speak with good intent naturally? And, do you teach children that it's good to speak with good intent? Or do you say, oh my gosh, look at you, you look fat in that? Or do you say, no, you look really nice, I'm glad to see that you put on some weight, that dress really fits you, and you mean it, do you speak with good intent? The other one is I relate in peace. How many of us are arguing? Oh my goodness, I am not going to lie about this, even on myself. I will tell you, you bring it to me. If you don't bring it to me, I'm in peace, but if you bring it to me, I ain't relating in no peace. I am not going to lie. This rule number 12. I have a temper and I know it, and I worked very hard on myself to control it, okay? Because I relate in peace. If you relate to me in peace, I'm in peace with you. But if you don't relate to me in peace, you disrespect me, I'm not going to have it. I will not be relating in peace. And so I'm a little bit of a firecracker. So, I would say that I have a little problem with that one myself. And so how many times you go and you go into a club and you see man and man arguing over rubbish? How many times you go out and you see, people in traffic arguing over rubbish? And if they learn that I relate in peace, they would sit down and think, okay, this is just an issue. Do you know what I mean? It's good to be sincere and honest, says JB, but also to be careful with the people you're doing due diligence and have good relations to in the future. Yeah, that's what I said. You have to be discerning. You have to use your discernment, because not everybody is like that, right? I remember a story of someone who I know quite, so I'm running short on time, I can't go into it really, but I know a story of someone who I know who thought their friend was like their best friend, and their best friend was their worst enemy, just like in the film, just like in the film. Anyway, yeah, I honor animals with reverence, yeah? Well, I kind of do, but I don't like certain insects. I'm not going to lie. I don't honor them with no reverence, especially roaches and stuff like that. Me not love them. So, so I would say, I'm glad it says animals, because I'm okay with animals, yeah? Although I think if you eat meat, do you really honor them with reverence? So I think a lot of us meat eaters can pass to that. Vegans, you get a pass. But it all depends on how you treat your pets and other animals, And also, there's experimentation done on animals as well. There's a lot of things done to animals, yeah? And then number 14, I can be trusted. How many of us out there can say that I can be trusted? How many, especially people in relationships that are single or whatever, can say, okay, I can be trusted while they're out, doing what they're doing, pretending, and then coming home, wiping their mouth and then pretending they never done nothing. How many? Yeah, how many people can be trusted at work? They call in and say, oh, I'm not feeling well, when they're going out because they've got a trip plan with their friend. Yeah. And so, there's many different things that can be said. I care for the earth. How many people litter? How many people litter? How many people don't really care for the earth? How many people throw things on the street? How many people throw things in water? How many people, pollute, and don't care? That was number 15. Number 16, I keep my own counsel. How many people lavish chat and gossip? Yeah? How many people lavish chat and gossip and spread rumors about other people? Let me tell you something. I have been a victim of that one. I don't know why people love lavish and talk about me, because I'm really not that interested, in my view anyway. But people seem to, especially at one stage, love making me a topic of discussion, especially with regard to lies. And then, time always tells. Time always tells. That's the thing. The truth will always come out in the end. So what did you get from it? You just really enjoy just, putting someone down, trying to humiliate them, trying to destroy their character, trying to defame them, trying to, put negative slurs on them. For what? What for? And so, it just says something about you, I think. It says something about you. And that feeds nicely into number 17. I speak positively of others. All those people that were online slurring me, you think they were speaking positively about me? No, they weren't. No, they weren't, but Karma's my sister, she's going to go for them one by one, yeah? And so, speaking positively of others is very important, because you give people self-confidence, you give people the way that they can, excuse me guys, I'm really sorry, but I'm live on my broadcast. Hello, I'm live. Sorry. Thank you. So, like I said, speak positively. Thank you. Speak positively of others. Yeah. That, a lot of people found that very hard to do. And it's a shame that, we don't do that often enough. And we have to do that with our children, and praise our children, especially when they're achieving and doing things, that is something very important. Okay. So number 18, I remain in balance with my emotions. Oh my goodness. How many of us are off kilter with our emotions? 1 minute happy, 1 minute sad, 1 minute angry. Yeah. How many of us? Yeah. Number 19, I'm trustful in my relationships. Same thing I was saying again. Yeah. I would say, I think there's some statistics. I don't agree with all statistics, but I remember seeing a statistic, and someone was, arguing with me, telling me that, there are more men than women, there are this, there's that. And I said, no, there's not. There's 4.4 billion more men than women on this planet. You can just do your research and find out. No, there's not. No, there's not. So I said, okay, you've got a phone in your hand, research it. When he researched it, I did to cheat. And I'm saying to him, no, you're a married man. It's my friend, yeah, that I've known for a long time, from England. And he cheated on his wife and called me for advice. And he was trying to justify it. And I said, no. I said, absolutely not. I've been a victim of it, and it's not a nice thing to do. And I found it very hard to speak to him again after, he confided in me, because I just thought, he's just distrustful. It's a very, very bad thing to do, and it's very, very hurtful. Very, very hurtful. It's better to be honest, okay? So, I hold purity in high esteem. Purity is very important. Do you remember I was talking to you about celibacy, and I was saying that we need to hold celibacy in high esteem? Celibacy is purity. You keep your body pure until you have the right person, the right partner, and your right husband or your right wife, and you hold yourself pure until that very moment that, you come into union with them. That is purity, okay? And holding in high esteem, instead of all of this promiscuousness and people doing one-night stands. People going out and doing, sex parties, sex orgies, threesomes, doing all of these nasty, deviant behavior, sleeping with different women every day, sleeping, with different women, saying that they don't want to commit because they want to go out and sow their role. Like, no, it's disgusting, and it brings disease. I was watching a film. I shouldn't really talk about another film, but I can't help it. But there was one film, okay, where this woman, she was a doctor, and she was married to this man who was a lawyer, okay? And her husband, who was a lawyer, he was disgusting, okay? He really was. He was really promiscuous and cheated behind his wife's back. His wife was a practicing psychiatrist, and she just opened another office. Anyway, she had 3 best friends. I can't remember the name of this film either, but, I'll try and find it. But anyway, she had 3 best friends, one of which was white, okay? The other 2 were black. Okay, and this is the difference also between morals between us and them. So when she went away, she came back, and then she found that her husband was in bed with the pastor's wife. Okay, so she snuck in. They never saw her. She took the pastor's wife's driving license out of her handbag, and then went to see her husband to tell her husband that his wife is there, doing the deed with her husband, okay? So, of course, he was really distraught, really upset, couldn't believe it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it turned, just to make the film short, so basically, she puts a secret camera in because her white friend, who's the lawyer, tells her that she needs to get evidence, right? But then what does she do? She actually catches the white friend also sleeping with her husband. Anyway, she also catches the husband doing it again with the pastor's wife after he says that he will stop. Okay, so she then says she wants a divorce, and she has all this evidence. Anyway, while she found her husband cheating, she went to a bar and she had some drinks. She met a guy, and the guy said that, he would help her and support her and this and that. So she went out of town and she stayed by him, but nothing happened with them. They were just, friends. Anyway, so she got back, but, that was seen as infidelity in the film. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, so she goes back, and then when she finds that her husband is then sleeping with the pastor plus her best friend, she gets very distressed. She approaches him, wants a divorce. Anyway, afterwards, she goes to see the pastor, and no, she calls the pastor to come and meet her at her office. When he meets her at the office, they ended up doing the deed. Anyway, afterwards, she ends up getting pregnant, okay? So she doesn't know if the baby is her husband's or if it's the pastor's. And then the other white woman ends up getting pregnant. So in the meantime, there was another story that was going on with the white woman who met a guy called Jason, who happened to be an undercover reporter. Anyway, she ends up chatting Jason up, but Jason was interested in the black friend, but she got jealous of the black friend and then went and slept with Jason to make sure that Jason wouldn't sleep with the black friend who was a realtor, who was doing real good, who he was attracted to. So anyway, so the white woman went and she gave him, and then afterwards, the white girl ends up getting pregnant. She doesn't know if it's her friend's husband or if it's this reporter, Jason. So anyway, they both go into labor, but in the meantime, the pastor's wife gets sick, so he goes into her bag, and what does he find? He finds a letter saying that she's HIV positive, right? So she didn't tell him that she was HIV positive. So she'd been sleeping with the pastor. She'd been sleeping with the doctor's husband, the lawyer, okay, and the lawyer had been sleeping with her and with the white woman and with his wife, okay, right? This is what happens, okay, and so basically they were all distrustful in their relationships, and so two of them ended up getting HIV. The baby that the husband that was unfaithful, she ended up having a baby, but the baby ended up being the pastor's. And in terms of the other woman, I don't know whose baby it was, but this is all because they were not trustful in their relationships, okay? That film was crazy, okay? So the moral of the story is, yeah, keep it in your pants and be trustful in your relationship. You know, be trustful in your relationship, yeah? So anyway, I spread joy. How many of us spread joy? Or do we, you know, sit down and wallow in our sorrows? Yeah, that's number 21. 22, I do the best I can. How many of us really put effort into what we do, right? And do the best that we do? 23, I communicate with compassion. How many of us have no empathy and compassion for people and don't really care? Right, and half the time we're doing passive listening. We're not really interested in what you got to say. Okay, how many of us really have compassion for others and we communicate with compassion? Right, 24. I listen to opposing opinions. How many of us can say, yeah, like I was saying to you the other day when he was telling me about how he cheated and wanted advice because she wanted to kick him out, blah blah blah. Juliet, what do I do? I said, you didn't tell me what you was doing when you was bouncing. You know what I mean? So why you come asking me now? Yeah, and when I told him and he was trying to justify it and whatever, he didn't want to listen to opposing opinions. So it's important to listen to opposing opinions because you learn a different perspective from your own, okay? I create harmony. How many of us can say that we create harmony? We go into other people's lives, anywhere we go, we create harmony, love, and you know, we make people feel good. How many times can we say we create peace and harmony? Yeah? 26, I invoke laughter. Oh, I can say I do that. I do like to make people happy, you know. I do like to tell a joke also. I won't tell you one now. I've got a good joke, but I'll tell you next week. Okay, 27, I'm open to love in morally acceptable forms. I am open to love in morally acceptable forms. Now, there's so much of this indecency carrying on out there on the streets, you understand? There's so much of it. They're trying to normalize it, and it's not normal. So, you know, if we stick with art, we will raise our children to be morally adept, yeah? Number 28, I am forgiving. Oh, I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time with that one. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, I'm a person, I don't hold a grudge, yeah, and I will forgive, yeah, but I find it hard to forget. And then some people said to me, if you're not forgetting, you're not forgiving. So in that case, I must have an issue with it, okay? So I'm working on myself with regard to that. How are you working on yourself with regard to forgiveness? And there's certain things, like someone says, oh, forgive for slavery. I cannot, I just can't, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had no reparations, no forgiveness, forget it, yeah? So I am kind. Yes, I am kind. I think more of us need to be more kind to each other. It doesn't have to be, you know, monetary gifts, but just being kind to each other, a kind word, you know, is important. 30, I act respectfully of others. Wow. Do you know some of these young people, I can't say that, but you know, the younger gen them, you know, it's like a friend of mine was telling me that she was advising her daughter, you know, about going on dates and whatever. Man didn't even want to buy her a drink. She just left. Didn't want to buy her a drink. Like, you know, where's chivalry? Didn't want to pull out the chair. Didn't want to open the door. You know, I said, maybe he's on a deal. And, you know, it's just fronting like being, because like when you want a woman, you show and you put effort into that. You put effort into the relationship. If you don't put any effort, how do you expect to get anything out? It's all about equal give and take, reciprocation. Okay? So, you know, be kind. I act respectfully of others, yeah? Acting respectfully is so important. I think we've lost respect. I think that's the problem. We don't even know what respect is. You know, I think that's one of the problems. We don't know what respect is. And I want to come back to respect anyway, maybe next week, yeah? I am accepting. Being accepting of our differences. Like, I might come from, I might be Fulani, you know, you might be Mandinka. We have differences, and we have to learn to accept each other with those differences. You know, stop all this tribalism. Oh, you're Christian, I'm Muslim. No, let's learn to accept each other and love each other. Okay, 32. I follow my inner guidance. Woo! Power! How many of us ignore our intuition? That voice is telling you, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Look, you see all of the red flags, you see it, yeah? You might have a choice, for example, between two men, okay? And one of the men, yeah, is kind of like, just seems fake, you know? Seems like they're really materialistic. They seem kind of, you know, they're like, they're saccharine nice, you know, sweet and nice, not honey nice. There's something about them that's just not right, and your spirit is telling you, you know what, that person's not genuine. And you meet another person who is more genuine, might not have what the other person has, yeah, but is more genuine, is more kind, is there for you, you know, is a shoulder to cry on, is someone that you can talk to, someone that will tell you the truth. The other person's not going to tell you the truth. All they do is boost your ego. They just boost your ego and boost your arrogance, right? And, you know, make you prideful, make you very prideful, very, very prideful. That's what the other person does. They, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so good. And all they're doing is boosting you, but they're not really telling you about you. They're not even finding out about you. They don't even care about the real you. They're not telling you things that are going to improve you. They're not telling you things that are going to advance you. You understand? And you meet these two people, but the person that lays it on the thick is the person, but your alarm bells, your spirit's telling you, no, you know, intuition's going ding, 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 ding. Like, no, that's not the one that is keeping it real and saying to you, you know, come on then, you're saying that, you know, you have a problem with your weight, let's go to the gym together, let's do this together, let's do that together. The other person saying, no, you're perfect just the way you are, I love you. But behind your back, they're lying, they're saying, oh no, you know, this person's weighty, I'm not really attracted to her. You know, this is what's happening. So, you know, follow your inner guidance. How many of us don't do that? I converse with awareness, yeah? How many of us go and do research before we open our mouth? Or, you know, they're talking rubbish about Juliet. They're talking rubbish about Juliet. Let me go and ask her. And then when you come and ask me, say, no, that never happened. Oh, but I saw online that this happened to you. No one punched me in my face. No, it didn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about. It didn't happen. Like, oh, but I said, yeah, it's not true. Simple. You understand? End of story. But did you come and did you check with Juliet to authenticate? Did you all check to get awareness of whether that was the truth or not? You understand? Okay, I do good. How many of us can say, sorry about the noise, yeah? How many of us can say, just generally, I do good? Yeah, Omar, give me 2 minutes, yeah? 2 minutes, I'm nearly finished, right? Everybody, that's Omar, yeah, he's my guy for doing stuff. Let me say also hi to Ed the Man. I forgot to shout you out. I did say I would in my text to you this morning. So yeah, you know, I do good. How many people can just say, yeah, I do good by others, yeah? You do good and good will follow you. And that's how you know someone by their actions, not their words. Look at someone's deeds. My dad always said that. Look at someone's deeds, not their words. You understand? I give blessings, yeah? That's very important. I give blessings, right? Blessings is important, right? It's when you know, send positive vibrations for someone. Very important. That's what blessings is. It's sending out those positive mind thoughts, those positive vibrations, thinking of someone highly, and, you know, send it out that they are going to, you know, achieve their goals, saying that, you know, they are going to get the money that they need. They are going to get the good health that they need. You know, Juliet's channel is going to get 1 million subscribers, for example. Yeah? You know, BlaXit's going to have 1 million subscribers. That's my blessing that I'm sending to you. I'm blessing you with that. Okay, how many of us really do that on a daily basis for anybody else outside of ourselves? Okay, I keep the waters pure. How many of us pollute water? You know, truth be known, how many of us pollute water? And we allow these companies to pollute our waters. Yeah, BP, all of these companies, why are they still operating with impunity in Nigeria and other places where they're totally destroying the waterways for people? How many of these companies that are doing it, yeah? Freeport Maran, all of those, gold mining companies and mining companies where they pollute the local waters, how many of us are standing up to them? I know there have been court cases, but they still continue. Yeah. I know that I have personally stood outside Freeport Moran and outside of BP's headquarters in England, and I have protested. I have personally protested about West Papua. I speak with good intent. Yeah, that is very good. I think that's similar to something that we said before. So I'll go over that one. I'll pass that one quickly. I praise the goddess and the gods. Oh, goddess? You praise the goddess, do you? Most of them don't even mention the word goddess. Most people don't even mention the word goddess, like she doesn't even exist. Yeah, don't mention the gods. Oh no, there's no good and there's no ocean, there's nobody else. Yeah. I am humble. How many of us can say that we're truly humble? How many of us can say we're not arrogant, egotistical? How many of us can say that, our egos aren't overinflated? How many of us can say that our arrogance, looking down on our people? I remember having a conversation with someone once, and they introduced me to someone, and I was dealing with that person, and I said, oh, I told this person about this, and this, and they said, oh no, that person is under me. How could you tell that person that? This person is like, this is not a kind of person that I relate to. I'm of this and I'm of that. I was so shocked because it was the same person that introduced me to that person, asked me to help that person. Right? And I didn't realize that they were looking down their nose at that person, and it really made me, change my viewpoint of that person, because I never realized that they were, arrogant, they were not humble. Because if we're humble, no one is really better than anybody else. We're just different, okay? Yeah? We're just different. We're on different frequencies, different vibrations, okay? I achieve with integrity. Integrity is so important. Having integrity, is so important. That was something when I was younger, I used to have an issue with finishing things. Sometimes I still do, because books that ain't finished. I tried and I come it's just the end. It's just the end. I want to end on a really big crescendo, and I think I'm probably giving myself too much. But, integrity is doing what you're saying you're going to do and do it, and being honest and open about it, and transparent. Transparency is so important. And transparency is a big part of integrity, because if you're not transparent, if you're holding secrets and lies and holding back information, you're not working with integrity, okay? If you're hiding things, if you're, working in dark, working in the secret, in secrets, you're holding secrets, you're holding lies, yeah, you're not working with integrity, okay? Okay, I advance through my own abilities. Okay, 41. How many of us, have self-limiting beliefs, and we don't advance ourselves, even though we have abilities? We don't advance ourselves. Yesterday, I was training on editing, and I was learning masking, I was learning all of these different things, because I really want to learn to do things myself. I was learning, how to do, some split screen editing and so on and so forth, because I want to learn. And that's so important, because I have to advance through my own abilities. But how many of us know that we want to go and do AI, or we want to go and, learn how to trade, I don't know, Bitcoin or whatever, and we stop ourselves? How many of us? So I think that's important. And of course, I embrace all my own people. Yeah. How many of us can say we embrace our own people? Yeah, there's a lot of hatred going on in our community. We're going outside of other races to find love. We're prioritizing other races above ourselves. We're not doing race first. We're not loving ourselves first. So that is the last of them. Okay. And so, like I said, the Book of the Dead also talked about acts of impurity as well. It says, I have not lain down with man. Okay, if you know what I'm saying, man with man. So those are things that were seen as impure, and they were seen as they were disapproved of. Also, even though I didn't categorically say this in the modern one, it is in the old one. So anyway, I'm just going to end today by saying thank you so much, for joining me on today's live. As per usual, I went over time. And I do apologize about the noise. I was having some work done. I do apologize. Also about the dog barking as well, but these things happen. But I just like to say thank you so much. Without you, I would not be here. So I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for joining me. I'm sorry if I didn't get through all of your comments. Yeah, Renaya, Jamal, thank you. Idli, thank you so much. Thor, thank you so much. I think that's Ciara, thank you. Okara, thank you so much as well. Selim, thank you so much. There's so many comments that I didn't get through, so thank you so much. Thank you. You know, you're right, Ciara. I'm going to end with her comment, which says, truly, we have a lot of morals. The story sounds as crazy as some things I have heard in my 40 years. Sad but true. Leave me out of all of this mess. I think that's a wonderful comment to end on. So thank you, Coral Forever, Father. Thank you to everybody that joined the live. If I didn't get to mention you, Belinda, thank you so much. Gald, also Ipop, thank you so much. Bakura, thank you so much. Gold and Silver 75. Yeah, thank you so much. So I'll see you next week, same time, same place, 3 p.m. And remember, if you would like to support BlaXit, you can via PayPal using our email address, botcollective@yahoo.com. That's, I'm not even sure. Do you know what? I forgot the password, so don't bother actually. I forgot the password. So not so much about that. What we can do is, let's say, just give each other love, I think. Yeah, let's share some love with each other today. You know, BlaXit is all about the love frequency. It's all about us loving each other, enabling each other, building up each other. This is about the United Empires of Africa. This is all about us coming together. Don't forget about your repatriation plots and land. Remember, you can get in contact with me via info@blaxithome.com, or you can text line us at BlaXit. That's +220 240 5273. I'm going to finish because he wants to finish his work. And just want to say thank you for participating. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your interactions. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your intelligence. Thank you for following BlaXit. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe to BlaXit. And please keep giving us a thumbs up so it can help with the all-important algorithm. As you know, we're not monetized. So I will be working on the monetizations so that we can start looking into the community and the other memberships and stuff like that. So I will humble myself. Yeah, looking at my art, I will humble myself and, you know, go into exactly what YouTube requires of me to be remonetized. Okay, so with that being said, I love you all. Thank you so much. You know, special shout out to my family. And of course, a special shout out to you, my other family, BlaXit family. I love you, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. That's 3 p.m. Sunday live on BlaXit. Thank you.